When you think of Old West lawmen, you imagine sheriffs and marshals riding into a lawless town. But few were as fearless or as forgotten as Bass Reeves. Today, we uncover the story of America's first black deputy U.S. Marshal. If you enjoy our content, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
Bass Reeves was born into slavery in 1838 in Crawford County, Arkansas Territory, the son of William and Frances Reeves. His father, a blacksmith who had been freed before Bass's birth, was kidnapped and sold back into slavery, leaving the family in bondage. Reeves grew up on the frontier, learning skills, horseback riding, marksmanship, tracking, from both his father's trade and the surrounding Native American tribes. He married his first wife, Nellie Jenny, around 1855, and fathered several children, all while living under the shadow of enslavement. When the Civil War broke out in 1861, Reeves seized his chance for freedom. He fled to the Indian Territory, present-day Oklahoma, finding refuge among the Seminole Nation, who sheltered him from slave catchers. There he learned multiple indigenous languages, Seminole, Creek, and Cherokee, which later proved invaluable in his law enforcement career. Reeves enlisted as a scout for the Union Army's 1st Kansas Colored Volunteers, serving with distinction until the war's end. In 1875, Judge Isaac C. Parker, known as the hanging judge of the Western District of Arkansas, needed fearless lawmen to bring order to the sprawling, lawless Indian Territory. Bass Reeves was one of 200 men appointed as deputy U.S. Marshals. Reeves quickly earned a reputation for integrity, courage, and resourcefulness. He carried 2 six-shooters and a Winchester rifle, wore a badge inscribed United States Marshal, and was said never to be outdrawn. Some of his more famous arrests include Cherokee Bill Hendricks, 1894. Reeves tracked the notorious outlaw Cherokee Bill for weeks through the rugged hills of Indian Territory. In a surprise nighttime raid, he arrested Bill without firing a shot, escorting him back to Fort Smith under guard. Sam Starr, 1888. Sam Starr, husband of the outlaw Belle Starr, was wanted for horse theft and other crimes. Reeves posed as a traveling preacher to draw him out, then arrested him in a saloon in Eufaula without bloodshed. Henry Starr, 1902. Bank robber Henry Starr had eluded capture for years. Reeves feigned drunkenness at a local tavern to lower Starr's guard, then sprang into action, arresting him single-handedly after a brief struggle. Blue Duck, circa 1889. Blue Duck, a Cherokee murderer, was on the run after a killing spree. Reeves tracked him across swampy terrain, cornered him in a thicket, and took him into custody without casualties. 14 fugitives in one day, 1893. Demonstrating his legendary efficiency, Reeves apprehended 14 different wanted men in a single day, often by entering towns unarmed, learning their whereabouts, and surprising them with backup marshals. His own son, Jim Reeves, 1906. Upholding the law above all else, Reeves arrested his own son Jim for horse theft. He treated him no differently than any other fugitive, ensuring justice was blind to blood ties. Over a 32-year career, Reeves arrested an estimated 3,000 felons, including murderers, train robbers, and outlaws. He was famed for his tracking ability, pursuing fugitives through dense woods, across rivers, and into the most remote hills. Disguises were one of his specialties. He might pose as a farmer, preacher, or peddler to draw out criminals. Reeves was wounded at least once, shot through the leg while arresting a suspect, but never killed anyone in the line of duty. His colleagues marveled at his stoicism under fire and his refusal to accept bribes. He was so respected that Judge Parker once quipped, "I have more faith in Reeves than in all the rest of my deputies put together." Bass Reeves married a second time to Ella Seven Moore, with whom he had 5 more children. He purchased land near Muskogee, Indian Territory, and ran a small farm. In 1907, when Oklahoma became a state, Reeves retired from the Marshal service. He then served as a police officer in Muskogee for 2 years before health issues forced his final retirement. Reeves died of Bright's disease on January 12, 1910, and was buried in an unmarked grave in Muskogee. For decades, his story was little known outside local law. Beginning in the late 20th century, historians and writers rediscovered Reeves's remarkable life. He has since been honored with statues in Fort Smith and Muskogee, inducted into the Hall of Great Westerners at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum, and celebrated in books, documentaries, and television dramas.
Bass Reeves brought 3,000 outlaws to justice, never took a bribe, and even turned in his own son. His name was buried until now. Share his story and let the legend of Bass Reeves ride on forever.